We're going to take you to Windsor now, where Premier Doug Ford is speaking to the media. He's answering some questions now after a housing announcement. Let's listen in.
Rabbit, but these poor little beagles, you look at their face, and whoever, leaked it out, I want to thank them, because this was all done in secret. That's another frustrating thing. So, of course, now I've directed our team to start hunting down anyone else doing research on dogs or cats. It's unacceptable. Imagine your little dog being there and they try to put him into a heart attack. A poor thing. I mean, that's terrible, 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 inhumane. So they're done, they're gone. And just a message, if you're doing this with dogs or cats, you got to stop before I catch you. Simple as that. Can't be doing this. Matter of fact, we're going to legislate this. We're going to make it very simple. You aren't going to be going after animals like that.
Given the public reaction and serious ethical concerns, you kind of alluded to it there, but will your government commit to an official review to, create some accountability for what happened here?
Yeah, we'll look into it, that's for sure, through the Minister of Colleges and Universities. But I think we just legislate it and ban it. There's no reason we need to be using poor little dogs, right, or cats or anything like that. It's unacceptable. It's cruel. It's inhumane.
Hello, Premier. Megan
Hi.
from AM 800 News.
Hi, Megan.
Tariffs have obviously been top of mind, especially here in Windsor, Essex, by being a border city. What are the next steps in terms of talks with the Prime Minister and other premiers across Canada to keep ensuring that working individuals are protected?
Well, I'm going to see the Prime Minister up in Ottawa. I think it's next week. When is it, Jules? Monday, okay. See, I listened to the boss there. So Monday I'm going up to have a one-on-one meeting with the Prime Minister, and I've told him how I feel. We got to create the environment, and just a few things we can do can really change things. Number one, we're taxed to death, simple as that. And, the highest tax bracket's 54%. And believe me, you don't have to be making millions to be at 54%. You make a couple $100 grand and 54%. Then when you go out shopping, all the taxable goods that you buy. So we're left with nothing in our pockets. And Economics 101, put money into people's pockets. They're going to go out and spend it as simple as going out for dinner, buying a pair of sneakers, buying jeans. That stimulates the economy. And that $3 billion we gave back to the taxpayers this year, they went out and they spent it. And I'm happy they did spend it. And then you do the same for the company. That's actually, the company's even probably more important. You reduce the corporate tax. When I had our facility, when I opened up in 98, 99, and in the U.S. in Chicago, going into 2000, the Canadian corporate tax was lower than the U.S. So let's beat Trump at his own game. Let's make this the most competitive place in the world, because companies nowadays have choices. They're either going to go to a competitive place with great, smart people, or they're going somewhere else, and they're going to get lower taxes. And we need to lower those taxes to create an environment for companies to invest. So when I came into office, the budget was $150 billion. We saw $70 billion of investment. We grew the revenues to $70 billion. I'd never raise a tax. I don't have to. I will never raise a tax, because it's counterintuitive to have people invest. So that's what we're going to do, and we're going to make sure we're competitive. So number one, lower taxes. Number two, let's get rid of the HST. I will follow that on anyone that buys a home, not just new home buyers, but anyone. And let's do it to a point of 2 years, so it puts pressure on the market. If you go out there and say we're getting rid of it for 10 years, well, everyone's going to la-di-da, la-di-da. Let's lower that, right? In 2 years, lower the HST. That's massive amounts of savings for people. When you're buying a home, $600,000, $700,000, $800,000, $900,000, or even $1 million, that saves a lot of money. And I don't know your development charges here, but I'll just speak for Toronto. Before you get shovels in the ground, it's like $140,000, $150,000. It's over more than 200, probably closer to $300 a square foot. So they have to pitch in as well. And the last thing, Message to the governor of the Bank of Canada. You have to lower those interest rates. We're at 2.75%. You said you'd lower them if we were below 2% inflation. We're at 1.9%. Start creating the environment. You play a massive role in making sure our economy goes. So you can't be sitting back. And in my opinion, just my personal opinion, the economy at this point in time trumps inflation. We can hold inflation, but you have to lower interest rates. And then people will go out there and buy homes. So you put those few things together, and our economy is going to take off like that. This is a no-brainer. So me and my friend up in Ottawa, we're going to have a heart-to-heart. Well, he knows how I feel already, but he's doing a good job, by the way, too.
Is there still heavy concern about the automotive plants here locally as well? Obviously, we've seen the impacts at the Windsor assembly plant and other feeder plants over the last few months. Are you in talks with any of the automotive plants, such as Stellantis or Ford, to ensure that local workers are protected?
Yes, we've been reaching out to them, talking, but, you know, my message to the U.S., and if I go on U.S. media, be it CNN or whoever, my message to the Americans, this does not work. Tariffs do not work. I've been listening to Ronald Reagan a lot, and, you know, tariffs are terrible for the global economy. What it does is reduce competitiveness, and it has more of a monopoly. People rely on government handouts, and what that causes? That causes inflation. So it does not work, and proof is in the pudding. I've been pounding the president and Howard Lutnick, Secretary Lutnick. You're doing nothing but hurting the American people. When you tariff Canadians, you're hurting Americans, and proof is in the pudding now. The auto sector, you heard, is $6.5 billion they've lost. And that's just the beginning. It's just going to continue. And the mayor mentioned it. I've always said you can't unscramble an egg. You got to make the omelet larger. And let's grow together. Let's create the AmCan fortress. That's what we need to do. And then Procter & Gamble announced $1 billion loss, and Mattel and Walmart, and the list goes down. And they don't even have enough workers to fill the jobs down in the U.S. So, folks, let's just keep focusing on what we can do. And that's what I've said to the premiers and the prime minister. Yeah, always keep an eye on Trump, but let's focus on how we can be more competitive and be the greatest jurisdiction in the world. We got the critical minerals. We have the energy. We're leading the G7 in nuclear energy that everyone wants. We're leading the world with small modular reactors. So we have everything going for ourselves. So I appreciate the question. Sorry, I'm getting a little passionate today about this because that guy drives me crazy down south, I'll tell you, and 41 million other Canadians. So.
Hi, Premier. Madeline Mazak from the Windsor Star. Thanks so much for having me here today.
Thank you.
I have two questions for you about the announcement we're here for. The first being, not every municipality across the province has managed to surpass their housing targets like the City of Windsor has been able to do. What do you think the challenges are for them not meeting that number, and how confident are you that the province will still be able to hit the 1.5 million housing target, considering that?
We'll do, good question. We'll do everything we can to hit the targets, and I think they have to meet up to, I think it's 80% of their target, and then they get something. But I've seen with 444 municipalities, there's people like the city council here and the staff and the mayor that just exceed it. I have not seen 213%. If you want to build, you will build. And then there's some, I won't name names, they're NIMBYs. And they're the first to get out there and say, we need more homes. Oh, by the way, you aren't building in our backyard, you aren't building in our neighborhood. There's no way you're doing that. So that doesn't cut it. Everyone has to give a little bit and put housing where it belongs, not in the middle of a neighborhood. And I'm glad you're still with us on not putting these 4-story, 6-story. You can't go into a developed neighborhood with bungalows and everything. All of a sudden, someone decides to put a 4- or 6-story building, and the feds, which I totally disagree with, you agree with us or we aren't giving you the money. That's ridiculous. Look at Mayor Dilkins and the council. They did it. They hit 213% without having to put 4-story, 6-story buildings. So stay strong with that, because I'll tell you, the people do not want that in their neighborhoods. Now, on transit in Toronto, hey, you have a transit station, you're getting high rises. It's density, right? So.
Well, your government recently changed the metric system for counting what is considered housing. You included long-term care beds, student housing, retirement. How do you justify that to hardworking Ontarians, families who are still in the market and looking for affordable family homes?
What about including long-term care? A lot of these people are leaving their homes, leaving their condos, opening it up. And we're actually physically building these homes for them. They don't like calling them beds, these seniors, because they feel like it's just a bed. No, it's an actual home. When you go into some of these long-term care homes, so if you don't have them there, you're going to take up another condo, another apartment. So we need more long-term care, which we're building at a rapid pace, and along with seniors living homes too.
This will be the last reporter.
Hi there, Premier. It's Chris Ensing with CBC News out in Windsor.
Chris.
We've got a question on tariffs and the economy here. The Canadian Federation of Independent Businesses did a survey of members and found that the tariff relief programs launched by Ontario, they didn't work for small or medium businesses. That was a month ago that report was released. Have you changed anything following that feedback?
Well, we put over $30 billion into protecting Ontario, but the other announcement you'll hear tomorrow, we're releasing another $5 billion. I think we're going to start $1 billion tomorrow and then just keep adding. We're going to focus on helping small businesses. We're going to really focus on the auto sector and the steel sector. They're the ones that are really getting hit the hardest. So we're rolling out the money, and I won't hesitate to keep rolling it out because I know we're going to get through this and we're going to come out stronger than ever before. And what we're going to do as well, we're onshoring. We're going to onshore all these products. I love using the aluminum can scenario. We don't have an aluminum can like the Molson beer and Labatt's that Flacky loves to drink all the time. That can actually comes from the U.S. It gets printed, gets converted, so the aluminum gets 25% tariff down, 25% tariff back. And I sat back and thought, boy, you got the Pepsis, the Cokes, the craft brewers, you got Molson's, Labatt's. Like, what are we doing buying the cans down there when we have access to our aluminum? Let's produce it here. So guess what? We have aluminum can companies coming here saying we want to do it. Same with tin cans too. Our friends at Primo down the street, up in your area, I think, Anthony. They're saying, well, by all means, I don't want to buy our tins anymore. All the food manufacturers we had at Queen's Park, and the total is about, they use about 1.25 billion cans. Again, that tin comes from DeFasco, gets shipped out to California, it gets converted and comes back. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And I-beams, steel beams too, same thing. We're going to start manufacturing steel beams here. And anything that we can onshore, we can onshore because we have the market here. We buy $359 billion worth of products off the U.S. That's more than Japan, China, Korea, UK, and France combined. So we don't have to take a backseat to anyone, and we sure don't have to take a backseat to President Trump. We need to go full steam.
Just a question on border security here. After a person was arrested for allegedly crossing from the U.S. to our region in a kayak last week, another person allegedly crossed from Sarnia into the U.S. on a stolen Sea-Doo on the weekend. Our harbor master says that these are common incidents and more needs done. The province has already announced Operation Deterrence to stop these breaches at the border, but how does it keep happening?
Well, first of all, and this isn't the present Prime Minister's problem, it was the previous Prime Minister that weren't funding border agencies, the Canadian Border Agency properly. They're short thousands of patrol officers. And even in Windsor, and Mayor, correct me if I'm wrong, but we had the Windsor police boat patrolling the river instead of CBS, like CBSA. Really? You're relying on the Windsor police, a small police service to patrol? No, that's unacceptable. We went out, and now we bought a helicopter for this region. So the OPP, which is unusual, they're patrolling. Operation Deterrence is patrolling up and down our borders, which should be CBSA. And by the way, I want to thank the CBSA officers. They're all champions. But they need more help. They need more resources. So hopefully the Prime Minister will give them more resources. But we can't have the great police officers of Windsor, out there patrolling our borders. They have enough issues they got to take care of on the land.
Thank you. This concludes today's press conference.
Well, thank you, everyone. I appreciate it, and God bless you.